Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the A-Space, and today we're going to be talking about an individual that goes by the name of Queen. Queen had a lot of attention put onto them because they were both close friends with both Birdie and Synni during the whole peak of their drama. But during the time of their relevance, they would gain some very interesting controversies. You see, the whole point of this video is that I interviewed Queen like a little bit ago, and this is basically just to kind of have like a nice little timeline and their responses to each of the controversies that was pressed towards them. I will also be linking the original raw call in the description for any of those who just want to see that just plainly by itself. But now that we got that all pushed aside and out of the way, let's start actually diving into the controversies, shall we? So the first thing I ask about is actually something regarding back in November with a person named Metapone, because essentially there was this call that was on Birdie's hard drive that Synni leaked that was going to essentially be their part 2 response to the whole Synnibear stuff. Now, this stuff got leaked and was posted on this person's channel as well. Now, what followed after that was one of Queen's friends threatened to like strike them. So I was kind of hoping to see if that there was any like reason behind the scenes I can get to basically give me context of why that they went to this extreme.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ara was very paranoid because he was afraid, and my other friends too who were in that call were afraid that someone could find us and just a lot of things. I personally at the time didn't think of as much, but I understood their fear, so that's why I also went. But after realizing, hey, this is stupid, and Meta actually brought this up too. Meta had really good points, so I understood what they said. I was like, oh crap, yeah, this was stupid. We should not have jumped the gun. We should have just went after Synni, Romantic Goblin, or Kumo. That's what they should have done instead of getting Meta involved. And from what I remember, Ara didn't quite threaten legal actions to Meta. It was basically a saying, hey, by the way, I'm planning on making legal actions to Synni, and this video is underneath Synni, so you might you to Meta might get swept up in this, so if you want to take this down and stuff like that. I'd have to see the screenshots because Ara did send it to me.
Now, another thing I talk about with them also happened back around November, because around when the call got leaked and like that whole thing happened, another thing got leaked from Birdie's hard drive, which was also a group chat where they did talk about Synnibear and how to go about it. The question I would have would be regarding police reports, because as people know that we're following the situation, the only thing that they publicly confirmed that they did police reports on was death threats, and that also did not go anywhere because I guess Synni's messages were considering like vent messages, so it really did not hold in court or anything and go anywhere with that at all. So the natural question I had was, did they report the grooming to the police? When I talked to Laurel about it, she kind of gave me an answer that someone just randomly chimed it in when they all group called the police and it didn't really go anywhere. So naturally I wanted to talk about that with her. Like, I was just gonna ask, like, why any of you, like, did any of you like even attempt yourselves to try to like report Synni to the police?
Yeah, we did. Ara did.
And how did that go?
Yeah, that's what I don't want to go into full details because it is kind of in progress. It's just nothing much is happening currently, as I can say.
Okay, so...
Because I don't know, because the law, I know sometimes in the law, some things need to be quiet. But right. Yes, the report was a report against Synni's grooming allegations.
Okay.
I know I wanted to keep it slightly vague for that, but I realized some people definitely needed it to be more clarifying, but I was a little scared that, hey, something like that, I don't know. Sometimes cops would be like, why'd you clarify it, blah, 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 so...
No, I get that. I mean, honestly, like, my impression of it, because I talked to Laurel a while ago about it, right? Like, and all I was aware of, like, was the attempted, like, there was, like, a police report filed for, like, the death threats. But apparently that didn't fully go, like, that didn't, like, get, like, taken too seriously because it got, like, taken as, like, vent messages from Synni, and that didn't really go much anywhere. Yes. Like, I'm aware of that. Yeah. But it, because, like, from what I was described, it's, like, when they were on the phone, it's, like, someone just, like, randomly chimed that they groomed a minor, but, like, it didn't really go farther than that. So I was kind of under the impression that you guys didn't really file that, but if you did take action, I'm not going to pry, because I know, like, how that works.
The city, when we first said that, the information we were given was super confusing because I think it was me or someone, it was me who chimed that in. The city that we did it in was super just not caring, and then we submitted it to another city, one that we live in, and they actually cared a lot more about that. So it just depends on the city departments. Okay. Because the city when we went to did not give two craps.
So the next thing I would ask would actually be quite an interesting controversy that they got. Essentially, I guess Jack sent money to them twice, and they were petty and wanted to keep an extra $1,200 rather than giving it back. And I guess it took being publicly called out by many people for them to actually give the money back. One thing that you're going to kind of like notice with this talk with Queen is that she kind of like is very emotionally driven and can be very stubborn in certain situations, and it really does take a lot from other people for her to actually snap out of it sometimes.
So first one, he said it was sent from the wrong account, and then he sent a second one. That one was taking too long, so I stepped in and said, no, this is not going to... It's taking too long. I need these things gone. And so Jack tried to send it within the next couple of days because I gave him another deadline, which was the final deadline. And then Jack finally sent it out. And I was like, okay, cool. Finally, the thing's sent out, because he had a connected through his bank account. The first two were connected through his bank account, so that's why it took so long. And then the third one was sent, which was immediate because it was from a card. And then finally, after a couple weeks went by, Jack texted me saying, hey, these two things are open, or have sent to you. Could you send it back? And I just kind of left them on red because I was kind of so pissed at everything. And one of my friends told me, yeah, just keep it. He sent it on accident, blah. And so I was like, okay, cool, I guess I'll try. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just update people on the situation. I knew I was being very much of a bitch. So that's why I was just being pretty honest. I knew I was being a bitch. I was being honest. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going down, if I'm going to be a bad person, I'd rather bring my own reputation down than Jack did, because I know very well Jack would have probably made this out to be. And people were correct. And I realized, oh yeah, that's definitely a stupid thing. I was high on emotion, very stupid. Putting that out there actually was a wake-up call, and a lot of people saying, hey, don't do this, be better than Birdie. And I was like, yeah, that is so fair. So then I stopped that, sent it back, and that was great.
Now, this next one was really mind-boggling to me. So when like Jack was like moving out and leaving the house, they happened to, I guess, leave their ferret's ashes. For this one, Queen would act very childish for, because it's like they wanted to keep the dead ashes because I guess Jack left it, and they felt like that if they returned the ashes, they would be giving the ferret back to an abusive family. But like, obviously, it's like, how is that going to happen if they're dead? Like, what's going to happen? It's like, it's really mind-boggling. I don't really understand their logic for it fully, but I'll let them try to like explain their thought process right here.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
yeah. That I have. Sorry, continue on. You can go on with the question.
Because like, okay, like this thing that really stuck out to me is like, you were gonna keep it, and then like your reasoning was you didn't want to give the dead ferret back to its abusive family.
Oh, sorry. Is that the end of the question?
Yeah, you could answer. Yeah.
Okay, so I never actually was going to keep it. I was just wanting to, but I knew that ferret was Jack's ashes, but it was just a want. It was just kind of a want, because I have my own ashes. I have my dad's ashes with me, and I just since the entire time he lived with Synni, those ashes have just been in a box, in another cardboard box, just sitting there, and just not enshrined or placed in a nice place or anything like that. And I'm Christian, so I definitely have Christian values, and I respect the dead. And I was just a lot of just emotional thing, and just kind of, again, more pettiness towards Jack. And it was definitely my fault for like even thinking that, but it was kind of just a think of want, not an actual I'm going to do this, just a think of want.
Now, the last thing I'll wrap up with this is like the most prominent controversy, the most infamous one with this person was unironically cat drama. So there was this document made by Saki, who I will be putting like their document in the description for those who wants to see it, but they do have every screenshot confronting Queen about the cat drama. So that kind of like saves some time, because I wasn't going to go into every single little detail of every single little screenshot in it anyways. But if you are curious, I will be putting it in the description for those of you that do want to see it. Now, the thing that does really annoy me a lot about the cat drama is that we literally went from Synnibear grooming a 14-year-old about battling over who gets the cat between Synni and Birdie, and I think that that is really stupid. It's petty. It did not need to be public. It is like really, it should just like be handled behind the scenes. However, it was made a public spectacle for everyone to see, and that was just very immature of everyone involved. But here's what Queen had to say about it. this has been going, like, this specific one's been going on for Oblivion, so I don't, like, want to harp on it too much, but, like...
Is it the cat?
Yes, it's the cat.
I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing that's been
It's okay,
going on
I understand. Just hit hard. Just hit hard. I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I understand. Go hit hard.
Like,
Don't worry.
It's like, it really does genuinely confuse me why you kept it despite it being illegal.
Kept the cat. So, it was actually not illegal. A lot of people think it was illegal, but in my state, it's not illegal for 2 roommates. Think of it like this. 2 roommates own the same item. One roommate takes the item away. It takes the item to like move out and stuff like that. And they have a right to it, which is why when Synni went to the city prosecutor, he said, no, you have to go to the civil court because it's a civil matter, as it's a dispute between 2 people. Nothing criminal was charged. Nothing criminal was done and stuff like that. It was basically just a roommate taking a gift with them. Because Synni gifted Squirt for both of them, mainly for Jack at first. Because from a call, because I'm remembering a lot of stuff. And there was a call like a few months, like a long time ago, I have recorded. Synni called me and she was in hysterics and she blurted out she never wanted that damn cat. I have to find the audio recording. But that kind of really spurred Jack into spurred Jack into like wanting to keep that cat, and he always wanted to keep that cat too. And I felt so guilted. I don't know how the hell I put up with his shit for so long. Then again, it was just me being a doormat, and being a doormat is sometimes stupid. So that's why a lot of things I did back then I do regret. But going back to the cat, I then managed to get Jack. I think the whole thing, luckily, Jack does not have any legal actions over Squirt anymore, because he gave Squirt his ownership of Squirt to me, and so it was basically between me and Synni then. And so I then kept the cat for longer than I needed to, because at the point in my brain I was thinking Synni's not ready for the cat. Synni was not ready for the cat. She has money issues. Her apartment's about to fail, and then it just was awkward too. If I go back to my thing, going back to the thing, I don't know where I'm going with this train of thought. I'm jumping around, so ignore me if I jump around. I sometimes have very bad with words. So if I'm jumping around, I remember one time Synni texted me on March 8th. This was the last time I texted before I gave her back her cat. She said, because during this point, at that point, around November, she had verbally given me permission to own Squirt with visiting rights. So I was under the impression, oh, I own Squirt with visiting rights. But then Synni on March 8th said, do you think I'll be able to see my cat anytime soon? And I go, definitely very rude. Your cat? She's sadly not your cat anymore, because if anything, she's my mom's cat now. She loves Latte a lot. And then I said, anyway, you'll probably be able to see Latte sometime soon around spring break if I'm not busy with work. And I don't hear anything from Synni the rest of the day, and I'm just confused. And then Saki comes and like talks to me about it, and made me realize, oh, I sounded mean. And Saki had a lot of good points, because after Synni is able to take care of everything, if she has her house, because Saki says this, if Synni's able to take care of her house, if Synni's able to clean up the cat, if Synni's able to do all this stuff and is able to keep the apartment, then why keep Latte? And sometimes it takes me a minute for my stubbornness to finally let go, and for logic to finally win, because sadly can be a very much an emotional person. I am very much an emotional person. So then I realized, crap, I did sound mean. So I did apologize to Synni after that. And I said, hey, I'm sorry for sounding rude. Yesterday, because this is the 9th. I thought I sounded polite, but I realized I sounded different over text. That was my fault. I just confused because I thought that Latte's ownership was fully transferred to me and that you only get visitation rights. And then she never responded. So then that kind of went nowhere for a bit until April 7th when I watched, Lord Crust's video on Jack, and I kind of skipped to the end because I didn't have time to watch the whole thing, and I was kind of just curious what people think about the situation. And he some things were definitely a little rude and mean, and I understand that. So, but I took it to heart, and I was like, not took it to heart. I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, That is very mean of me doing. I need to give back Synni, give this back to Synni. So then I contacted Puppy, and then that whole thing happened.
Now, this essentially just basically wraps up a lot of the questions, a lot of the controversies that people were talking about with Queen, so I had this chance to basically talk to them about it, and it was very interesting to say the least. Honestly, I think it's for the best for Queen to take a break, because clearly they're not really equipped or really built to handle a lot of this stuff. I mean, they're very emotionally driven, they get impulsively defensive, and they're very stubborn, and don't even get me started with how it was pretty much poorly handled for the police reports when it came to an actual child groomer. So I think what they kind of need to do is just take a little bit of a break, in my own personal opinion. And with that, I'll be wrapping up the video here. Hope you like the content. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thank you for watching the A Space. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
We all got internet personas we hide behind.